everyone, Delilah from Alta Baja Market here for our fall Baja Wine Club wine tasting. And if you're familiar with our Baja Wine Club, we do this every quarter, and what we're going to do today is taste and discuss our fall shipment. And I have some friends joining me today, and you might have seen them before if you've seen our past episodes, but if not, I want them to introduce themselves again.
Hi there, my name is Sheila. I've been here since the very beginning with Delilah doing the wine club tastings. I'm her neighbor right over here in Electric City Butcher. By no means am I a pro at wine or anything like that, but I know what I like, and everything that I've had here is fabulous, and I'm looking forward to this tasting.
My name is Ron, and also a friend of Sheila and Delilah, and I've been in the wine industry and wholesale side for about 20 years now, and I worked wine retail for about 5 years before that, so I do have a little bit of experience with tasting, but this is always fun because Delilah's bringing wines to the table that I personally have never tried, and it's just a treat to come in, get surprised by what's on the list, and just start going at it when we see some of these things on here that look really, really good, look really fun. So very excited to try these.
Bruma Plan B Chardonnay, 2019, and I think we did the red for the summer shipment, so this might be familiar to you. This wine was actually in our Zoom winemakers event that we just did about a month ago, and it was really, really interesting. So we're going to give it a pour and a taste. This is another wine from Lulu Martinez, and according to La Competencia, considering that she spent 10 plus years learning her craft in Margaux, is it any surprise that her first stainless steel Chardonnay at Bruma draws comparisons to a French Chablis? Nope. Absolutely what Baja needs to pair with fresh fish, wood-grilled octopus, ceviche, salads, and spa cuisine. Ron, what are your thoughts?
This is just a really fun wine, really good wine. California Chardonnays tend to be heavier because they're aged in oak, or some are even fermented in oak. They go through fermentation that gives them the buttery. This doesn't have that, and like Delilah said earlier, it is a little bit more like a Chablis. And it's bright, it's got great acidity. We all talked about the flavor of green apples. If you bite into a Granny Smith apple, you're going to taste the same thing you get out of this. And I know Sheila I don't want to steal your thunder with the food thing, but the one thing that's mentioned here is grilled octopus. And I just recently learned how to make grilled octopus. And I cheat though. If you go to a really good seafood store, I don't know if we can name names, but you can buy pre-cooked octopus tentacles. So it's all cooked. All you got to do is throw it on a super hot grill and char it a little bit. A little salt, a little olive oil, eat it. Slice it up and eat it. This would be amazing with that. But then you had a really good seafood.
Yeah. Yes, this wine is it's fantastic. I started reading and it said it's going to be a Chardonnay, but then it's super bright. It's almost like a bigger Sauvignon Blanc. And to Ron's point, when he was talking about grilled octopus, I just did some sea bass a few days ago, and I grilled it over charcoal, and I threw some citrus wood chips on it as well. And I wish I had that fish with this wine. Really good.
So our next wine is Casa Magoni's Chardonnay Vermentino. It's from 2019, and we've actually had bottles from Casa Magoni for each of our shipments. So it's really interesting to try all the different selections from that winery. They've been very popular here at the store, just selling individually, and then we've been getting really good responses. So now we're gonna pour. And maybe we can see the color well. So I'm definitely happy that we tried the Bruma before, because it's definitely a lot heavier, and there's, I guess, bigger mouth feel, I guess. What I'm curious is, what's Vermentino, Ron? Because I am not familiar with that.
Vermentino is indigenous to Italy originally. So if you've had from the Liguria, Sardinia area, so if you've had wines from those regions, you probably drank Vermentino. I've had Australian Vermentino as well, so it does grow all over the world. It's a pretty bright green skinned grape, and we were noticing if you get this wine and you hold it up to a white piece of paper, It really has, you might not be able to see it on camera, but it's got some amazing, almost green color to it. It looks even so in the bottle. Well, the bottle's colored glass, so it doesn't tell, but the color of that kind of comes a little bit out of the skins. It's only 20% Vermentino, so you're going to get a lot of Chardonnay feel out of this. Just like Delilah said, it's a heavier, weightier wine. It's got more mouthfeel to it.
Another really good wine. When I was reading the original notes, this one is also steel barrel, stainless steel barrels, and it is completely. When I read that, I was expecting it to be more like the Bruma, but where the Bruma for me kind of like grabbed my tongue, this one just glided right over. We were talking about food, what to put with this, just to stay on the whole seafood line. I had, I think some super duper briny oysters would be good with this, or pasta with fresh tomatoes and fresh basil, I think would also be a really good pairing. Nothing too heavy, because I think this wine's a little bit bigger than the first one.
Salty cheese.
Oh, and yes, and a yummy salty cheese. I don't know my cheeses that well, but just something almost harder, almost like a super agey Parmesan or Caciocavallo.
Parmesan on that pasta, girl.
So as we start the red wines, I was looking through the lineup, and one of the wines is 100% Merlot, and I thought we should start with that. Last time we did this, and I completely picked a couple of wines incorrectly that we had to switch around, but Merlot tends to be a little less tannic than a Cabernet, and a little less big and bold than Cabernet. We have some Cabernet and Cabernet-Syrah blends here. Syrah is a very big, heavy wine, so those will come towards the end. But since Merlot tends to be a little softer on the tannins, we're going to try that first and see if it works.
Next wine is Corona de Valle's Merlot from 2016. And from our notes, it's crafted by Napa Valley-based wine consultant Jack Cole, formerly of Stag's Leap and Spring Mountain Vineyards. This wine combines the best of Baja with the best of Napa Valley. So we're going to see if it does.
This Merlot we talked about a little bit is the fruit on it is more like dried fruits, like dried cherries, dried blackberries. It's got a savory character. Sheila had mentioned roasted, which is a good character to pull out of this. So the fruit is subtle and it's a little bit dried, and it's a lot more tannic than we thought. This is a bigger, bolder wine. It would be great with, you can address that maybe with grilled meats, red meats, but I also think that this is going to get better if it's a bottle that you could decant, and you don't need to decant it slowly and be real special about it. Dump it into a bottle of some sort and then dump it back into this bottle. Double decant it. All you want to do is oxygenate it, get air in there, and that's going to start to oxidize this and make it open up.
Sheila is always great with pairing, and we just happened to be snacking on these little chocolates at the same time, which brought you, Cynthia, to say something, which brought Sheila to result in. Sheila, what would you pair this with?
Like Ron said, I get a lot of roasty flavors from here. So I would do this with maybe a simple roast beef, or maybe even a pork roast, because it'd be nice and rich, I think, to go with the unexpected tannins in this wine. And to your point, Cynthia, you mentioned it off camera. You know those chocolate covered cherries that you get in a little box? That's what this is like. It's like that kind of cherry and that kind of dark chocolate, and just some creaminess all rolled into one. I think it would go really great with this.
You could even do this as a dessert wine with the dark chocolate and just have these together.
For sure. Already looking forward to the winter tasting, and so that brought it all up to me. It's like, do any of the winemakers in this region, do they do a dessert wine? Because that'd be great with the holidays. You've got all your holiday celebrations coming up, and we all treat ourselves, So I wonder if it'd be a good idea.
Our next wine is from 2016. It's Symmetria Eje, which also means symmetry in Spanish, and it's from a young winemaker, Mauricio Soler. This is a blend, 52% Zinfandel, 20% Cabernet Sauvignon, 18% Tempranillo, and 10% Syrah. So let's give this a try. The more I'm drinking?
No.
Well, that too.
So Ron is all about thinking that this is a symbol of what it's supposed to be paired with. I've never had venison, But what I do think it reminds me of is berries and super fresh, not sugary, but fresh fruit, fresh berry. And that's what I've got. I want to see what Ron says about venison because I've never had it before.
What do I think about venison? I love it. No, it was almost kind of a joke because there's a deer on the front, and we thought, well, that's just tell you what to pair the wine with. It's very fruity, as Delilah mentioned. There's a lot of cherry and plum, and it's very bright. I wouldn't go as far as saying super acidic because it's not, but it's got a lot of bright fruit and a lot of sweet fruit. The wine is not sweet, but the fruit on it has this real flavorful, fresh fruit, which is delicious, and the tannins are not big. So I was talking to Sheila because she has had venison, and I thought she might have a preparation method she could talk about because I think this might work well, because sometimes with venison you do a fruit sauce to go with it.
A venison tenderloin would be awesome with this. I would do it over simple charcoal, or maybe like white oak, which has been my darling wood lately for pretty much everything I do. And then to bring that whole fruit element, I would maybe do a fun little salsa, or maybe even a mostarda with nice dark red plums and bright cherries.
Popping off, Sheila. So one of our last club selections where we did the Zoom winemakers event, and it was a real crowd pleaser, the Canada de los Encinos, and that was our summer wine selection too. It was crafted by Danielle Lomberg, who has made a few of the wines in this video. I guess this is another one of his personal projects. And this is 50% Cabernet and 50% Syrah. And this is called Literal Cabernet-Syrah from 2016. So we're going to try this right now. I'm super interested in this because the wine after this is also 50% Cabernet Sauvignon and Syrah. So this will be really interesting.
It's got a bird and a snake on it.
But you liked it. You liked both of those. I think this is delicious. It's fruity and bright, but to me it's a little bit not heavier. It's just not as light as the wine that we had before. And obviously I'm not doing this in the right way. That's why we have two people who know what they're doing here. I am enjoying what I'm drinking. The label is beautiful.
The thing I like about this is that although it's only 50% Syrah is a bigger, as Delilah mentioned, it's a fuller bodied red wine grape that's less tannic than Cabernet. So it can be bigger on the mouthfeel and less tannic in the mouth than Cabernet. So it's got a ton of flavor. Blueberry comes out of this. I get almost like a cooked blueberry note out of this. Jammy style fruit, but very big, very bold, and not very tannic, which makes it just super easy to drink. So if you wanted to have a red wine, if you like a big red wine and you don't necessarily want to have a meal with it, this will work really well because it's very, very easy to drink.
Another fantastic wine. I say it about every single one of them. That's because it's true. For this wine, I was reading the notes, and it one thing popped out at me, and that was a little bit of white pepper. I don't get a lot of white pepper from it. I do get what you guys were talking about in the fruit. For me, the first dish that came to mind, only because I saw the word pepper, was we were talking earlier about classic flavors and classic preparations. Steak au poivre. It's steak that's been coated in cracked pepper, seared off, and then you take the steak out, hit the pan with a little bit of brandy and a little bit of cream, and swish it and pour it and eat. And it's delicious.
You could do the same thing with a piece of tuna if you're not a red meat eater. You could do tuna au poivre with this as well.
I've never done that.
I think it would hold up.
What about tofu? I'm just gonna take it there a little bit.
You may take it. It's all you.
Well, maybe, yeah. So our final wine is Adobe Guadalupe's 2016 Symmetria Red Blend, I believe. And it's just like the wine we just had before, which is 50% Syrah, 50% Cabernet Sauvignon. And Yeah, it'll be interesting to try this. I actually have no notes from Tom on this because I think this might have been a mix-up. So hopefully we'll be getting this for fall, or maybe not. We'll see. But we are going to try it, and we will take a hit for you guys. We are going to go into the unknown just for you.
Okay, so we were talking earlier about how we've got these two wines that are both the exact same blend, 50% Cabernet and 50% Syrah, but totally different wines. They were mentioning about the sulfur, and to me, that was like, if you ever took like a book of matches and smelled it, that's the smell you get when you first open the wine. That said, take this wine and open it way before you start dinner to let it aerate and stuff, just like Ron said. They said that the Syrah in the fifth wine had more of that dark blueberry, where this one, the Syrah, is a little bit more earthy. So I would do like a super herb crusted lamb, or you want to stay veg, grill some portobello mushrooms. I think that'd be would be awesome with this wine here.
Thank you for having us. Thanks for including this. This is, I think this is one of the best lineups we've put together so far.
Yes.
The wines are really, really good across the board. Very bright, the style that I like, with a lot more vibrancy and acidity and a lot of fruit to them. Whether this is the future of winemaking in Baja, or you just found this hit on it this time, it's really, really good.
I really enjoy this. I agree with Ron, this is the best lineup we've had so far. I'm learning so much about this region that I never even knew wines came from down there. And if those of you that are watching this and you're not a part of this wine club, join, buy, wait. This is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, friends. And if you want to see more on the Baja Wine Club, go to altabajamarket.com. Thank you. Bye.